Welcome to St. Augustine this evening, the Mike Davis Show. I get no respect on Tuesday.
Come on.
No respect whatsoever.
Okay.
All right,
Just for that, I'm going to turn the sound up on my phone, just so you guys can have something to talk about.
They don't want to hear your sound. That's why I say sound off, right?
Isn't that Davey, welcome back to the show.
I love this show. So happy to be here.
2 weeks since we've given each other a rough time.
That's true.
Yeah.
Last week we had the great Jimenez Facio House.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful
awesome.
conversation, actually. It was great.
A really, really good crew. And, for those of you who know, Amanda has a raging headache today.
Oh, we love her.
I know. It's my fault. I called her at 6 a.m. Actually, I started texting her at 5:30, I think.
At 5:30,
Yeah,
I
that's what time.
appreciate
Yes.
that, though. That is, if you are not up at 5:30, what are you doing with your life, right? Carpe diem. Let's go after it.
Let's go. Let's get this thing going.
Yeah.
All right, we have an amazing guest today.
Oh, so happy. Yeah.
So, but we're going to do our reads. We'll get through all of this stuff. We'll make some money for the show because occasionally I have to pay Davey.
Occasionally.
Is this the quarter I pay you, or is this the quarter you do for free?
I mean, it's always.
Okay.
I'm like a rotation, like a lazy Susan.
Just somewhere in here. All right, Aber Kresge and Associates. They're a full-service local CPA firm with a team of skilled professionals dedicated to providing top levels of service in the areas of tax compliance, planning for businesses, individuals, estates, and trusts. If you need to do an audit, a review, or other accounting services, they can help you out. If you need a business valuation so you can sell your business, or forensic analysis to figure out where the money went, and litigation support, they can do all of that for you as well. Call Bill and Ken over at Aber Kresge. You can reach them at 904-460-0747, and they're online at aberkresgecpa.com.
Even Troy likes them.
They're good folks.
They're amazing. They save his butt every
Billy
time. That's what he
right
says.
before now. He's doing some work for me right now.
That's great.
Yeah.
Round down, right? Is that what you're supposed to say?
I don't know, man. Listen, I have my Uncle Brad, and his thing, like, if you think you owe the IRS some money, just quadruple it, and then we'll be okay. And it's like, no, we're not doing that.
I know. But what is not my fear is these great people from Solar Stick, established in 2006. Solar Stick is a local portable power company proudly committed to American manufacturing. They have constant innovation and creating jobs right here in St. Augustine, Florida. We salute that. Solar Stick's focus on providing solutions for self-sufficiency helps users all over the world complete missions and saves lives. Solar Stick, changing lives, saving lives, and reviving American manufacturing. Talking about reviving the American dream is Bozard Ford Lincoln in St. Augustine. Their goal is to make sure your time and experience buying a car is stress-free, fun, and enjoyable. Bozard is a family-owned Ford dealership that has been in business since 1949. Bozard Ford Lincoln has been the recipient of numerous dealer awards, including ranked ¡1 automotive dealership in the nation by Dealer Rater. Bozard Ford has won back-to-back President's Awards, which is the highest honor given to the Ford Motor Company. Check them out today. Try it online. Go to bozardford.com. We love you guys. You're amazing.
And A to Z Roofing and Waterproofing. They've been serving St. Johns County for over 20 years. A to Z offers painted metal roofs for saltwater area homes with warranties up to 25 years, and they have shingle roofs with warranties up to 50 years. A to Z also installs tile roof, cedar shake shingles, and designer roofing and flat roof coverings.
You did it!
Davey's so happy when I get through this cedar
I
shake
know, it's
shingles.
so hard.
You can go online at A to Z Roofing and Waterproofing.com, and you can check out all kinds of job photos with material descriptions. They're wonderful folks.
Awesome.
Give Chuck McCone and his staff a call, 904-669-8037. And in our community update,
Let's go.
this is timely.
Okay.
This is incredibly timely, Davey, as though we planned it.
Ding, ding, ding.
Big Brothers, Big Sisters of St. Johns County online auction started on June the 6th. It will run through the 13th. All of the funds raised during the auction will support Big Brothers, Big Sisters in making matches and empowering children in St. Johns County through the Big Brother, Big Sisters program. Everyone, regardless of their location, can participate in the Big Brothers, Big Sisters summer online auction to support their mission and get great items. I got a lead on an item that I'm now bidding on.
That is so rude, Mike Davis. I want my item. Barbara Jean, come on, help me out.
Barbara Jean has already given me hell twice today, which means she loves me.
I know. That's
She's
true.
called it the Amanda and Davey show.
Oh.
And is that really Mike Lewis, the guest personality? Barbara Jean, we love you.
Oh, that's so funny.
Listen, if we can't give each other a hard time. And today is June the 11th. It is the Davey Hartzel Spin to Win if you go to Funky Town Day.
Okay. Well, I'm not there, so.
Well, it's not really there, but I just keep, Jackie Hurd only has a few days in the Jackie Hurd.
Here, yeah.
So I've just decided to make up the rest of the calendar
So
days
it is
for her.
International Play Day today. That is the truth, because we had, obviously, Friends of Anastasia State Park, which was on the afternoon show talking about the playground. Yeah, so yeah. International Play Day, and here I am on your show, serious show.
I'm not the serious show on this. I think
you're
the
not.
afternoon show is a serious show.
No, it's a fun-loving,
I've
fabulous
heard the
show.
morning show. You got to have coffee to be able to watch that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you definitely need a lot more than coffee. Maybe Grandpa's cough syrup. I don't know. God bless the morning show.
Oh, my
The beacon of
gosh.
our hope there.
Well, one day Mike Lewis will guest host on there for you.
I'd love it. I've asked
Mike,
multiple times during production meetings, and I get looked at like, I took the trash out. Yeah.
Let's see. The last time I hosted, I think Haley's comment went by. It's been that long, so I'm kind of overdue just slightly.
It's kind of overdue.
It is. We have an amazing guest, though,
Yes, awesome.
with one of the best organizations in town.
Yes,
and
sir.
So we're so happy to have Teresa Andrews. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
And you are with Epic,
I am.
which is this little organization that has been around for a long period of time.
Very long time.
And it's not really little. You guys do a lot
I
of
have to
stuff.
say, we have
If-
grown.
If we ask you to tell you all the stuff we have, we only have 47 more minutes to go. So you guys do so much. So tell us, for those that don't know Epic, how long has it been here? When did it get started?
So we celebrated our 50th anniversary in October. October 10th, we have been around for 50 years, which is amazing.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it really is.
That makes Epic younger than me and much older than Davey and Amanda.
I will accept that offer. Yes.
Just say thank you.
Thank you.
There you go. Just say thank you.
But talk about like the journey of the 50 years. You said on pre-show that it didn't start off being called Epic Behavioral Healthcare. Where did it start?
No, it's kind of a funny journey with the name. So in 1973, things were going on. People were concerned about kids in town. And so a group of citizens got together and they started the Jam House. That's what they called it.
Jam House. Were they making jelly and jam or no?
But they
Okay.
provided a place for kids to stop by and hang out.
Cool.
And then they shared
Like a jam
information.
session.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then they shared information with them and started to grow. And I did not know this until we did a lot of research for the 50th anniversary. And as a matter of fact, we did the 50 days of Epic. So for 50 days, like to count 1973, we talked about what was happening each year. So 1973,
cool.
1974. And all of those days are still on the Epic website.
Awesome.
So people can still
Okay.
go back. But I thought we just did prevention at the very beginning. And then I found out at the very beginning, we were going into the jail and we were doing some pretty serious counseling. I had no idea, but I had tracked down the original.
So these concerned
Executive
citizens were
director.
obviously really concerned.
Right. So they continued to work and do things, and then it was growing, and we were doing a lot more prevention services as that came on board. So they decided to change the name, and it became the Drug Education and Prevention Center,
Okay.
DEPC, as it was known.
Yeah, that sounds great. Like a show I would see on CBS or something, right?
Yeah. So there was
DEPC
a
undercover,
lot of
yeah.
prevention. That's really like a lot of things like around Red Ribbon Week and a lot of stuff in the community. So much in the community. I mean, we do that now, but it was really getting started then. And then a few years after that, the board and staff at the time decided to change the name and decided to change it to Epic Community Services. But at that time, they did it because of the definition of epic. So if you look up epic, and it talks, part of what it talks about is heroic journeys and overcoming obstacles. And honestly, the folks that we are working with, that they have a rough road to travel on. So overcoming their substance use or their mental health issues. So we thought, well, let's call it epic because that's what we're helping people do is go on this really epic journey. And then it was a few years later that someone went, well, duh.
Eureka. Yeah.
We have this great acronym. So then EPIC became capitalized and it was education, prevention, intervention, and counseling.
I love that story.
I know. And it was just, it really was funny because it really was like oh my God.
My marketing
how did
mind
we
is like,
miss
ding, ding,
this?
ding. That's amazing. Yeah.
And then a few years ago, we changed Epic Behavioral Health Care to kind of more show what's going on in the industry.
Like mental health awareness, kind of?
Mental health and substance use and behavioral health is really becoming more recognized as something that everyone has when we all have our physical health, but we all have our mental health as well. And there was a lot more paying attention to that. And so we changed our name to Epic Behavioral Health Care to be more encompassing of everything that we do.
Huh.
Did you find out where the first house was, where the Jam House was? Were you able, because some of that
Yes.
gets
That's a good question,
Yes,
yeah.
it was on Orange Street.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
And actually, if you go
And the
look,
welfare center was down the street from it. I think I'm saying that right because Catherine Rose taught me
Yep.
this years and years
Yep.
ago. Yeah.
If we had had this conversation in October, I could have told you everything.
Oh, I
'cause
love the
that's
nostalgia.
okay.
This is our
but
town.
But if you go to the 50 Days of Epic on the website, I think we have a picture
Okay.
of our very
Amanda will
original
rock it
building.
out. Yeah.
Amanda's already probably
Definitely.
found
She
it.
already has, actually.
Amanda's found it. It will be up online in like 2 seconds. 'cause
Literally
she's
world
already
famous
there.
producer, yeah.
She's awesome. Do you remember who some of the original founders were?
Well, Chuck Huber was the original ED,
Mm-hmm.
and then I actually have the original incorporation sheet that they all signed, and I can see it, but I can't pull the name. I'm going to email that to you tomorrow.
Yeah, I just love that history because I think that there's we have 450 plus years of history, but there's a lot of history in there that's been lost.
Yeah.
Right? And there's a lot of really amazing things. I think that the early 70s was a big transformation for St. Augustine, and a lot of the stuff that we benefit from today is the work that people did in the early 70s and 80s, making St. Augustine a really cool place. And so I just, there's some of that history to me that we're losing. We're losing some of those people that moved here at that time and got involved in the community and made major changes.
Well, St. Augustine during the Prohibition was known for its vices. I mean, we were all about, booze, and even during that time period, and prostitution was very big in our town. But everybody lives sort of harmoniously, and that's just kind of how we interviewed this incredible lady that wrote this book about the vices of St. Augustine back in those time periods. But I think that all kind of caught up with everybody over time, and that's probably what provoked these concerned citizens. Were like, hey, we need to manage this a little bit, mitigate this a little bit.
Let me explain this to you, Davey.
Here we go.
You don't get on a ship,
Okay.
risk your life to go across the sea
True.
to do things there that
Right.
you weren't allowed to. I mean, you're like, okay, if I'm getting to a new world and I've survived all of this,
It's a fresh plate.
I'm pretty much can do what I want to do here. It's not like I want to stay home, right?
Right. Yeah, that's true.
It's like, if I'm going to take those risks to get all the way over there,
Right.
they're
Scurvy, all of
generally
it. Yeah.
fairly risky people. They're risk takers.
Right. And we needed to be able to say, hey, there's
Mm-hmm.
a better way to do this. And that's where Epic came in,
And said,
or
we need
Jam
you,
House came in.
we need
Yeah.
you a little more risk averse.
Yeah, right.
The original Jam House was 48 Charlotte Street.
Charlotte.
Okay.
We moved to
Charlotte
Orange after
Street.
Charlotte. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
You're welcome.
great. Okay.
It's now part of the Best Western.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Isn't that? No, that's not one choice. So, yeah.
Best Western is one of Troy's.
Is it really?
Mhm.
Oh, wow. So, how
North
about
end of
that?
Charlotte Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, one of Troy's.
So, what
That
if.
mogul owns everything.
I know. My
You know
gosh.
they came up with a new nickname for him yesterday on the
Yes,
show?
it's Bougie Blevins.
No.
No, that's what we're calling him in the morning because he has 2 shower heads. You know that?
No. I got 2 shower heads. I'm not bougie.
Excuse me.
I
What
want
is
2
this?
shower
Why does
heads.
everyone have 2 shower heads? This is ridiculous. Pete and I and everyone else in the morning show, we have none except Blake. But I mean, that's
You
it.
live in a second world house. David.
Oh man,
I only have one
This-
shower head, but I have a bidet.
Me too. Thank God. Thank God.
Listen, Tim O'Neill, the legend, dubbed him Cat in the Hat yesterday.
Oh
He's the cat in the hat.
yeah, that's a good one.
So
That's a good
about
one.
as good as you can get with Troy. So you guys got started.
Yes.
You changed the name. How many different services do you provide now?
Hmm.
I mean, you've grown to this
Wow.
amazing organization that does so much in the community.
It's an epic amount of numbers, apparently.
It's epic.
It is epic. We do epic work. Epic does epic work. Well, so a lot of years we were known mostly for our substance use services that we did because we were really involved in like drug court. We have been with drug court since it started,
Oh wow, yeah.
and we did a lot around prevention of substance use. So a lot of people have only thought of us about substance use, but all along, like I said, I was really surprised right from the get-go. We were doing mental health as well. So now we have 5 locations. We have 4 in St. Johns County, and we have an office now in Flagler County.
Oh great.
So so we're up in the Northwest off of County Road 210. We're on right next door, Lewis Speedway, and we're on Old Dixie Highway. And then our inpatient facility is down US 1 South, and then the office in Bunnell. And so 4 of those, not the inpatient, do outpatient. So we do outpatient substance use and mental health counseling. We have master's level clinicians and licensed clinicians and clinicians who are doing their intern to get their license. They're like registered interns to get licensed. And we see kids from 4 and up. So a lot of people didn't know that we see children, but we see children, we see teenagers, we see families, we see individuals, we see couples. You can come to us for mental health counseling, couple counseling, relationship counseling, depression, anxiety, just anything.
And then what? Is it a one-on-one with a person, or is it like a group setting?
Nope. We do run some groups, but by and large in the outpatient, it is one-to-one.
Okay.
You have your own therapist that you see the same one every time.
That's awesome.
And so, but then if we are seeing a lot of people who maybe are having a similar, like when they're talking during peer review, I'm dealing with several women who are, this is going on. Oh, well, so am I. Oh, so am I. And then we might offer a group and open it to the community, because then obviously something's going on. We also do outpatient for substance use, and that's really more for adolescents and up. And people come in and they see their counselor. And then we do a lot of prevention work. We have stuck to that, which is part of our roots. And we do that by going out and talking to people, talking to families, talking to community members about, well, what are the signs and symptoms that someone is using alcohol? What are the signs that someone's maybe starting to have a mental health challenge? And how can we catch that early before things get worse? Just like you would with your physical health, right? You want to catch it early.
Right.
Same thing. You want to catch it early.
When I was growing up, we had the DARE program. Is that similar, or is that different?
It's not as formal as that. It's really more tailoring our presentation to who our audience is, and going in, like if we have like last year I had a PTO call and say, hey, can you come talk to us about elementary school kids and anxiety? So yes, absolutely.
Awesome.
We can do that.
I think it's great that you had a name for it. See, in my generation, there was no DARE program.
You just had health class.
No. There was just, if you were caught doing something wrong, your parents would punish you for forever. Yeah. You'd never have a car again. You'd never.
We still have that too in my generation.
I don't know about that.
I still feared my family.
It was rumors in our place that started. There was a rumor that I heard this about you, right? You didn't need physical evidence to get caught, Davey.
It's not,
you were guilty
you
first.
You were good. You never got caught.
Oh, I got caught.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah, I did. Oh, yeah.
Typical.
I was.
So, Teresa, tell me now, like, what happens if someone is in crisis? We recently just had a crisis in our community. And I don't want to go too down the dark hole here, but honestly, this family had a family member that was in mental health crisis, and they called the authorities, which is a great, obviously I would have done the same thing. Like, how do we do this? Should they call Epic for this? I don't know if you can comment if a life could have been saved, but would there have been a different route on something like this? When is it perfect to call Epic and when someone's in crisis?
So one of the services that I definitely want to talk about, and this leads right into it, is we have a mobile crisis response team.
Oh, wow.
So we do the mobile response team for adults 26 and older, and SES does the mobile response team for under 26. Right, yeah. And so there's a couple ways that people can access the mobile crisis response team. And really part of that is working through the authorities, because we do have to consider safety. So that situation, the person could have called 911, which is great. Mm-hmm. They kind of check things out, and if it's safety seems things are okay.
And obviously it wasn't.
They may call us, and we will go to where that person is.
Gotcha.
Or people can also call 988, which is it used to be 1-800-873-TALK, which is the suicide prevention hotline. And across the country, it has become 988. A lot easier to remember. They're working really closely together, and it rings regionally. So our call to 988 from here is not going to ring in Wisconsin. It's going to ring probably in North Florida. It's probably going to ring in Jacksonville. And they also can kind of like triage and do an assessment. And if the situation feels safe, they can reach our mobile crisis response team. And our mobile crisis response team is 24/7.
Oh, wow.
So if someone's in crisis, they go to where they are. We also have now an access walk-in center. So you don't have to have an appointment. If you're in crisis, if you're scared about somebody, being in crisis, I have, because people know I work at Epic, I get calls a lot. I'm with so-and-so, and this is, they're
What do I
escalating.
do?
What
I
do
mean,
I do?
honestly, Teresa, I
And
probably
if-
would do the same thing if
Yeah,
I didn't know that to call these numbers.
Oh, no. And I mean, that's great. I'm glad that they do. And so if it's between 8 and 5, I tell them to come next door and walk in.
Yeah.
So that's where our access center is. It's right next door to where we are now. So you just walk in. You don't have to have an appointment. You just walk in, and we will see you that day. So we're over there Monday through Thursday.
And over there is Lewis Speedway, 3910 Lewis Speedway.
That's right.
3910
Lewis
yeah.
Speedway.
Yes.
And then on Friday, we kind of pick up our access center and we take it up to the Northwest office, which is off of County Road 210 in the Watson building. And we see people up there without appointments. So if someone is like, or, like, it's really hard to decide I want help. It's really hard to make that decision.
I'm sure you get a lot of
And I
that,
don't want
right?
to lose my nerve. I don't want my husband to lose his nerve. I don't want my wife to lose her nerve. My kid finally agreed to go talk to someone. I don't want to wait for an appointment.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right away.
come in.
Is this
Come in.
new? Is this a new feature?
We've probably been doing it about a year now, but it's getting more and more used, which is great. We have great people in there, and what they do is kind of an assessment evaluation, kind of help determine what the next step's going to be. Do they need something right away? Do they need our detox center? What is it? Do they need to be Baker Act? Do they need immediate care right now? What is it? What's going on? And so they work with them. But a lot of times it's just being able to have that first conversation and having someone listen and focus on you can de-escalate. So then maybe we get them an appointment in a couple of days and they come back and then they get into our outpatient.
Yeah.
So it kind of depends. And we also have a co-responder team. So sometimes we go out with law enforcement. We have staff that go out with law enforcement when they're going to a mental health call. Because sometimes it's not really a law enforcement issue that's going on.
Patients have to be
people don't
such a-
know who to
Yeah.
call. And so sometimes we have staff that will go out with them as well. So I don't know all the details about what happened, but
Yeah.
it's a tragedy, and
But I think what you
can
said
always
was
second guess, but there
they
are resources
assess if it's going to
available.
be safe for you guys to
Yeah.
enter. So now I understand. Okay,
Yeah.
it's not like you guys go immediately to
Right.
the okay.
Right.
Do you see over time, right? Because my impression of society today, and it's molded from how old I am and where is I see more mental health issues today than I've ever seen before. I think some of it is the stress in society. I think some of it is the phones and all the apps. And I think we're rewiring kids' brains. I think we're rewiring adults' brains, right?
Well, you guys swept a lot of things under the rug back in the day, though, too, right? I mean, that you didn't really talk about bipolar. Like that really wasn't a thing until mid '80s,
We weren't
right?
allowed to talk about anything, Davey.
Right. I'm serious. Like
I
everything
didn't even
was
know
kind of
feelings existed until I was 40, David.
God sakes! Oh,
I had no idea
bless
that
your
those
heart.
things were around.
I'm basically a whelping box over here. Jeez.
No, it was a very different, but I look at that and I think that there's so much more access to mental health today, but I also think there's so much more of a need because I really think people are struggling with connecting to other people.
Right.
And some of it is, they'd spend time on a phone rather than spending time actually talking to people, sitting
Right.
down and having a conversation.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. And it's interesting, a study came out probably several months ago from about the CDC about how much trouble our kids are in and how many are experiencing really high level anxiety and how many are thinking about suicide.
I
as
know.
an option. And
It's a hot
suicide
topic.
is the second leading cause of death for those between the ages of 10 and 34.
Wow.
I also think that COVID was a double-edged sword because one of the positive things that came out from COVID is that people started talking more about mental health. That we were all going through the same experience. And so we started talking about it and it became a little bit easier to get help after COVID. People were, I think some of the stigma reduced some after COVID, but then COVID also added, kind of jump-started that you're talking about.
I think it really, if you were a lonely person, right, and all of a sudden you couldn't go to work or you were working remotely or you didn't have friends and family that you were in contact with,
Right.
it really isolated a lot of people. And I think
was fine.
we're still trying to unwind that. I mean, somebody like Pete Melfi was as happy as he could possibly
I was
be.
too. I was fine. Actually became my best self when I had to pull back the reins and really kind of reorganize my life. Honestly, yeah, I know it was a dark time period, but I became a better human being.
So the chapter in Davey's book will be How I Survived COVID and
Yes,
Thrived.
victoriously, right. So what surprises people about Epic? What is like the one like, oh wow factor?
I think how much we do and how many people we serve. Like last year, we served over 6,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's eye-opening.
So there are a lot of people that are coming to us through all of our offices and through our detox center, which is another big service. We just celebrated that anniversary that opened in 2014. So 10 years we've now opened the detox center.
That was a big deal.
It was
when you opened that. That was desperately needed in our community.
When we opened it, there had not been a detox center in St. Johns County for 25 years.
Where would they have to go? Jacksonville? Oh wow.
Or Daytona or
wow.
wherever.
Jeez.
So kind of like the stars aligned, it's just one of those things with
I remember that capital campaign,
capital campaign, and people were realizing and we were able to expand it recently. So we now have 12 residential beds and 16 detox beds. So yeah, people are surprised. You serve how many people? You do that? I mean, I haven't even mentioned all the services yet. We do parenting, we do the prevention. We were talking about prevention, or we do think, which when kids get caught at school or at a school function with drugs or alcohol or any kind of paraphernalia, they can either get suspended or they can come to think. So we get a lot of kids coming through our program, and their parents have to join in as well, which is really good because sometimes the parents are so angry, but they're not angry about the kid using, they're angry about the kid getting caught. So that gives us
an interesting paradigm,
to talk about
Yeah.
that and what that means and what message are you, sharing with that type of anger. So it's really a great program, and the kids do well and they go back to school. And then in addition to the drug court program, we have JET, which is also in the jail. So we're doing a lot of work with people who are incarcerated and have been found to have a mental health or substance use issue, and the jail they're not equipped to deal with that.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do with that. And so we work with them before they even leave jail, and then they continue to come to us. And our recidivism rate for the people in our program is amazing.
That's
so
awesome.
many people are really getting a handle on how to be successful without drugs and alcohol.
Yeah, it's a difficult. If you don't realize coming out of jail, we've had employees that have been in jail and come out. And one of the guys I had a long talk with one day, and he had been in jail for a while, got out, and he said he walked into a Home Depot and it was overwhelming to him.
Yeah.
Because he had been in jail, like you don't have choices. And
You
he
don't
said
see the growth.
You walk
and,
into a really big, and he said all of a sudden I have all these choices, and it was overwhelming. He said I couldn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
He said it took him a while to be able to get used to being back in society.
Right. And when you're that uncomfortable, it's a lot of times easier to go back to what you know, even though it got you in trouble in the first place. But this is comforting in some ways. This is what you know how to react, what's going to happen. And so it is very different if you've been in jail for a while, or even if you haven't, but you've been in and out, and maybe the family's like, go away or whatever. How do you navigate that? And then a big thing that we do that surprises people is we do a lot of suicide prevention. We have trainings that we offer for free to the community. We do QPR, which is a 2-hour suicide prevention training. We do It's Time to Talk About It, which is another 2-hour suicide prevention training focused on families. Like, how do you have this conversation with your kid in your living room?
Right. I mean,
People
I
don't know
hear
how to
it's
do
a lot
that.
about communication, honestly. How do you communicate with the kids, and how do you meet them where they are today? It's
Yeah.
a whole different thing.
And not being afraid. We have to, I just really feel like everybody in the world should be trained in QPR. So I'll just go ahead and say that out loud. But because we're all around people.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what to look
everyone
for,
should be trained in what?
QPR.
Is
Question, Persuade, Refer is a program that helps you identify that someone might be thinking about killing themselves, and then walks you through. And it's very practical, walks you through what to do. And if we all know what to look for, and we have someone we care for, and we like, oh, wait a minute, then we know what to do, and we can intervene again early before they get so far in their planning or whatever, feeling like no one cares about them, that we can help them find help.
Yeah.
well, and that was as a parent of teenagers, and all of mine are grown and not teenagers anymore. If you looked at the signs for suicide, and then you looked at the attributes of teenagers, like you could cross-reference like 8 or 9 of those. It's like, it was a really difficult thing to go, are they in trouble, or are they just being a teenager? And so
how
do you decipher between that?
You ask.
Okay.
You ask.
Yeah.
And you're like,
you ask
okay.
the question.
And they're like, no, I'm not in trouble, or not. I mean, I don't know if they would answer truthfully. That's just my.
It's really
Right?
amazing all the research and you talk anecdotally and you listen to people who have attempted to kill themselves and have survived, they all will say, we really wanted someone to ask me how I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And because no one did, I didn't think anybody cared. So they will answer honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you meet them where they are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, is religion a part of this at all? How does, because I find a lot of people find a faith-based community as something to lean on or something to grow with. I shouldn't say lean on, to grow with. Is there any sort of that element kind of wrapped into it? Do you work with any of the churches at all?
We are reaching out to churches to offer to train because people naturally go to them when they're in trouble. And so we want to make sure that they know how to react. But one of the signs actually of someone that might be considering suicide is really leaning into their religion or really distancing themselves or really researching like what is going to happen? What does your faith say is going to happen to me if I die by my own hand? And what does yours say? So, but a lot of times what we talk about is switches in behavior because signs of suicide can really vary. I mean, there's some that bubble to the top as being really, really common, and that's what we talk about in our training, but everyone's different. So you're always looking for those switches in behavior. And then we talk about situational things that can kind of make someone start going down that path. So if you're like, oh, this is that situation they're in, and oh, that's really different than how they acted before, and oh, they said that, and you kind of put this puzzle together, and then we help you understand how you address it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
You mentioned something earlier about helping with parenting.
Right.
So how are you helping with parenting?
So we offer free parenting classes, and one of them is called Active Parenting, and it has 3 kind of offshoots, I guess. Like if you're a parent of a 5-year-old and younger, it's a specific curriculum for that. If you're a parent of a elementary school student, it's a specific information for that, and then for teens. And so we either do that in a group or we can even do it one-on-one. So it's sitting down and going through the information and just giving knowledge. You know, you've all heard this, parenting doesn't come with a handbook, but there are things that can be helpful, like
There's
going
some
through
tools,
a parenting
right,
class
yeah.
and saying, you know, as a teen, you might see this, this, and this, but if you see it with this twist or that twist, then, you know, that might mean they're starting to experiment with drugs and alcohol, or it might mean that there's the start of a mental health challenge, or it might mean this. And so helping educate parents to know what to look for and then feeling equipped about how to address it and how to handle it. And then a lot of people come to us through the outpatient and they bring their families and they have family counseling to get through these, you know, the middle school years are tough. So how do we get through these middle school years and we all keep our sanity? And so we offer that as well.
Yeah.
Are you through the middle school years yet, Davey?
No, I'm still there.
Are you still there? Do we need to
I
set you up an appointment?
I regress back to be able to resurface that story, to shape it a little bit. So yeah, I'm back in 6th grade.
And then if you have a friend who's in his 50s who wears a lot of hats and he feels like you might need some help, do you have a program that we can help like a 50-year-old
like Hat
friend?
Anonymous or
Yeah,
something?
Hat Anonymous. I mean, I'm not going to mention any names, and he may or may not have grown a really big beard the last few years
Right.
as a cry for help, but, you know, I don't really want to single anybody.
Well, I mean, actually, that's a really good point that you bring up because Troy and yourself are doing this really cool veterans project with Home Again, right?
Yes.
Tell Teresa just a little bit about it because it's a really cool thing. You'll probably have to partner sometime.
Well, we probably will. We have to. Home Again St. John's partnered with the Veterans Council, and so we were able to, through some state funding, buy an old hotel on the island.
Right.
In the process of fixing that up.
I love this
23 rooms. I think we have 17 to 19 that are operational right now that have veterans in them.
That's amazing.
But we're dealing, and it allowed us to go from 0 veterans housed to 17, 19 rather quickly in about a 2-month period. But yeah, I mean, that's an issue. How do you help people? How do you get them? One person had not been housed in 10 years.
God
and
bless.
so they spent one night with us and then left for 3 or 4 days because they just
Didn't know what to do.
Didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
I haven't been I haven't had air conditioning and running water in 10 years, and you put me in here and I don't,
Exactly.
I'm freaking out,
Yeah.
right? So I
Yeah.
got to go. So that mental health aspect
Right.
of that is huge.
Right.
So,
Well, we already work with veterans through Veterans Court, so we are the treatment provider for that. So
a great program, by the way. Absolutely phenomenal program.
What is it? I don't know anything about it. What is Veterans Court?
So it's really kind of similar to a drug court in some ways, but veterans who are involved in the judicial system.
Okay.
And if we find that there are mental health or substance use issues, they can be sentenced to veterans court. And it's a lot of support, it's counseling, but there's also, accountability as well about working through whatever your legal issue was and working towards being.
Is that just for the veteran or family of veteran too, or just veteran?
It's the veteran.
Just the veteran.
But most of our programs wrap around services around the family as well, because you can't just.
Right. It's a whole community.
You have to bring in the whole. So if some of those folks at this hotel, which I think is such a marvelous.
Such a great
I love
project. Gosh.
I remember hearing about it. Thought it was really great. I'm sure we could work something out.
Have you worked with the amazing Bill Dudley at Veterans Court?
I have not, but I'm sure we have.
Yeah, Bill is he's in charge of the Veterans Council. Bill basically had a career as a veteran, then had a career in the private sector, and then now has a career as the head of all things veterans in St. Johns County.
That's cool.
And he's absolutely amazing. And this is the volunteer job that he does.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but Bill, I would have to get you. I will reach out to Bill. I talked to him quite a bit and had a meeting with him this morning. But he just amazing, his care, his love, and his compassion for veterans. Yeah, really, really gets it. But I think that's awesome. That I did not realize you were involved in that program with him, and that's a fantastic program.
So how do you guys I worry about the people that work at Epic, because you guys see a lot. How do you guys work on that internally? Do you guys give services to people that work for Epic or anything there?
We will.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I think it's so important. I worry because you guys, Teresa, you've seen some incredible stories.
Right.
I mean, obviously most of perseverance, but there's a lot of darkness there.
Oh yeah.
How do you mitigate through that?
So Epic staff have been known to take advantage of Epic services, but we also have an EAP if they are not comfortable doing that. We have a spirit committee, which is made up of staff from every campus, and they help us take care of ourselves.
I love that.
Which is really nice too, because if we are doing things to take care of ourselves, we're role modeling that to the clients.
Yes.
It's okay to take time out for yourself. It's actually more than okay. It's important.
Absolutely.
For your mental well-being. Again, you have physical health, you're jogging or doing whatever for your physical health. What are you doing for your mental health? Because it's important.
Self-care is not selfish.
It is not.
No.
And it doesn't have to be fancy either.
Right.
So, but they do, the Spirit Committee does fun activities with us. So we have chances at work to kind of unwind or do fun stuff together. But we also, like the clinicians, they have peer review. So they get together and they, kind of staff cases with each other, but then they also check in on each other.
That's so good. Okay.
And so and the managers are encouraged to really kind of keep a close eye on that. And if a manager is concerned that someone on staff, is maybe getting a little burnout or whatever, there's things that they can do to check in with them.
Well,
Smart.
As the short guy on the 904 now, and I don't mean Pete, says all the time, if you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of somebody else.
That's right.
Right.
If you're not in good enough shape, it's hard for you to help somebody else.
Absolutely.
So you've got to take care of yourself.
Right.
Your cup has to run over, and then it's that run over that's with the care that you can give other people. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like a spin bike.
That is insightful. I did not expect that
Would you
today.
show up to a spin class one of these days? I'm going to show you how Chief Michaud, all the SWAT team, everybody there, breast cancer survivors, I got teachers, everybody's
Remember I told you we didn't have feelings? We also didn't have transportation as a kid. So I have the
Darcy.
guys that do the Tour de France, they're a bunch of wimps.
Darcy,
if
just
you
drop them
rode
off.
your bike around town in St. Augustine for a week, you rode it for more than they did in the Tour de France.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry.
That's a big
we
statement.
We had to get everywhere, all over this town as kids. And if your bike broke, you walked. And the kids on bikes ridiculed you.
Uphill both ways. We heard it. Pour me
It
another.
actually snowed down here too one day, Davey.
One day. It was just a trickle.
You know what the worst thing about the snow day was?
What?
They made us go to school.
Well, good.
They
It wasn't
made
that
us go to
bad.
school. We sat in class and watched the snow melt.
Oh.
We got out of school and there was no more snow, Davey.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
I need to see somebody about this. It's been bugging me for so long.
There you go, Teresa. Can you please refer? I do have another question, but what do you do if people need medication? You talk about preventative things, but what if they need meds? Is that part of the gamut of Epic?
Mm-hmm. We have providers. We have APRNs. We have a handful. They go from campus to campus. So yes, absolutely, we can
That's
help
awesome.
someone with their medication.
I didn't know if you just referred that out or not.
And we also have, as part of our detox center and part of our outpatient too, we have the Mars Clinic, which Mars offers medication-assisted treatment. So there are like Vivitrol and I can't say the name. It starts with a B. It just won't come out of my mouth. But there are medications that have been found to help with the craving.
Botox.
Drugs or alcohol?
No, way off. Way off. Yeah. Buprenorphine.
So
That has Botox it helps with the different craving.
It does.
Yes.
Definitely. It freezes the face.
It stops you from the craving to get plastic surgery.
True. That is true. Yeah.
and there's Botox on the
I know.
Big Sister online auction.
I just saw that too. I clicked the link by accident. I was like, oh, there's Botox units. Yeah.
So people who go through the Mars Clinic, they also receive counseling, because what research shows is that the medication in conjunction with the counseling is super effective. So that's another way that we help with medication. It's very specific, and you have to have meet specific eligibility. But if someone needs other types of medication, like for their anxiety or something like that, we do have providers that can prescribe.
Oh wow, I didn't
And
know
that's
that.
another surprise thing.
Yeah,
people
that
don't
is a
always know
eureka.
that about it. But that's a section of our services that we're trying to grow as well.
We're doing the auction for Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Oh,
we
big
talked
one.
about it a couple of times.
Yeah.
But how is the Big Brothers Big Sisters program doing?
Yeah, that's another surprise. See, we have all kinds of surprises.
Yeah, this is a big movement. Yeah.
So there has been a Big Brothers Big Sisters in St. Johns County since 1982.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a standalone nonprofit. It was a full affiliate member of Big Brothers Big Sisters of America, because you have to be in order to use the Big Brother Big Sister name. But then they were struggling. And so in the 90s, they approached Epic with the help of Big Brothers Big Sisters of America. They approached Epic and said, hey, can Big Brothers Big Sisters come under your umbrella of services? And right around that time, there had been a study that showed that mentoring was a proven prevention strategy for substance use, that kids who are mentored are less likely to use drugs and alcohol. So it made perfect sense to come under Epic. Plus, our CEO at the time had worked for Big Brothers Big Sisters in another area. So she
that
was
kind of
very
works.
familiar.
Yeah.
So in 1994, Big Brothers Big Sisters came under the umbrella of Epic. And so it became part of Epic's 501c3 and all of that. But with Big Brothers Big Sisters of America, to use the name Big Brothers Big Sisters, you have to follow their standards of practice. And so standards of practice for a sponsored organization, which is what we are, is we have to have our own advisory board, and we do. And there's certain guidelines we have to follow, and we have to prove to them. We have to have our own budget. So under Epic's umbrella, there's the Big Brother Big Sister budget.
Gotcha.
And it doesn't commingle with Epic's budget. So it's, if you walk into our Big Brothers Big Sisters and then you walk into any other Big Brothers Big Sisters anywhere around the country, they're the same.
Yeah.
You have to follow the same guidelines, the rules, the branding, everything. We just happen to have a sponsoring organization, which actually has been wonderful.
Is it? I was going to ask you, do you see a
It's-
separation ever happening, or?
I mean, we do our own thing, but
Don't break them up. They like each other.
Well,
Davey.
I was a
Don't
part
break
of an
them up.
organization.
They like each other.
It's an interesting
do like
transition
each
if an
other.
organization breaks up, because I was part of when Inc. was with the school district and they separated. So I got to see this firsthand, what that looks like.
Right.
It's a big undertaking.
It
It's
is a
not
big
just like we're going to move out of an office. Yeah. So, okay, cool.
So
Everyone's
it's good. And what's really good is, we were talking about earlier, so many of our kids today are just having issues. And so one of the hallmarks of Big Brothers Big Sisters is the professional case management. So we have staff, they're called match support specialists, and they have a schedule of when they have to check in with the little, they have to check in with the big, they have to check in with the family. And so if they are seeing issues, it's not, well, here, call this number. It's, hey, let's walk down the sidewalk.
yeah.
And we know the counselors, and hey, let's call, Carol, let's call Antonia, let's see what's going on. And so it's that truly a warm handoff. It's walking them down and getting them involved. And so a lot of our families are also receiving Epic services, and then vice versa. When someone comes into outpatient and their child is struggling, like, oh, maybe a mentor would be really great for them. Oh, well, let's walk down to the Big Brother Big Sister office just down the sidewalk. So it works out really great.
What does that look like, being a mentor? Is that like a lot? You have to, give a lot of your time, or what does that look like?
We have community-based, which is what I think most people are familiar with. That's a little bit more time. I don't want to say it
Not
takes a bit more
constrained,
time.
but yeah, it takes up more time.
So
yeah.
with community-based, you go out in the community. So
Okay.
you're out doing stuff. You're going to the beach. You're going to the bowling alley. You're doing whatever. So you're
Gotcha.
doing that on evenings and weekends. 2
Okay.
to 3 hours, several times a month. Then we also have site-based, which is where that takes place during the school year, and that's where you go to the child's school or their after-school program, or we have it at different places, and you go spend an hour a week with them. And sometimes people are like, an hour a week? What difference is that going to make?
Oh,
my
it's
gosh,
huge.
It's amazing.
You'd be so surprised.
You are there.
Yeah.
For that hour. They don't have to share you. They're not.
I saw this with Take Stock in Kids, or
Yeah.
children, I believe it's called. I shouldn't say kids. But honestly, it makes a tremendous difference. And that you just do checks and balances on their work. How's it going? Just the connection.
But I think it's what we have talked about throughout this entire show, right? Is that reaching out and talking to people, having a conversation with them, asking them how they're doing. Because of the technology we have, you can look up anything, right? You can talk to people all over the place. You can make friends all kinds of different ways. But unless somebody actually sits down with you and says, hey, how are you really doing?
Yeah.
How are things going, right? I know you've got this going on in your life and that's tough, or this is tough. Do you need help? And so much of that you don't, that social media is not there to help you do that. It's just there to give you more stuff to go, right? Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. But it doesn't feed that what we really need.
It's not a real connection.
It's not it's not. There's a lot of information, but there's not a lot of useful connections that are coming out. So.
I also think the term therapy services has really changed and evolved over the years. Honestly, growing up, I just remember that was, going to a psychiatrist was such a disdain. I went to one as a kid. I needed to. So, but I found such great benefit from that. And I think that storyline is changing in people's lives. Are you seeing a difference there with as we evolve?
Yeah, I definitely, it's still there,
Right. Yeah, of course.
Counselor.
Right.
But I don't feel like it's as it was.
It's so important. I think it's so valuable for people.
But I think some people have the ability to talk to other people, right?
Yeah.
And then that kind of solves that problem for them. And then other people, if you don't have somebody that's not a family member or somebody that you can unload that problem on, or talk to that problem, or work through it, they just have a harder time with that.
Yeah.
There was you remember the first Crocodile Dundee movie, right? There was a line about mental health where someone said they were going to see a therapist, and he's crazy. Well, he's going to see a therapist.
Oh, remember that.
Everybody goes to see a therapist. How do you deal with that in Australia? Well, we go to Mick. Mick tells everybody in the community what's going on. Everybody knows, and it's over, right? It was a way of getting it out there, but it was a completely different way of, but that was the image for the longest time.
Yeah.
We need to add that movie to the wheel, Amanda. I'm just saying, that's a good movie.
Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah, we have a 904 movie club that we're very proud of, and so that should
A
be
Beautiful Life
That's this next one that we have to watch. Yeah. Roberto Benigni
for next Tuesday.
Yeah.
And going back to the Big Brothers Big Sisters, the site-based, it's so cool. It's just so cool.
Yeah.
And I'm a big sister, and you saw me doing this. I was going to look at my purse. So over the summer, I'm letter writing with my little. And I just got a letter. I was going, look, I got a letter. So
how cute.
It's impactful. It's impactful for me as a volunteer. It's not just the child. That time I went to go see my little, that was my best time of the week.
That's amazing. Because you know that you were enriching somebody that really, needs it.
Yeah. And it's just hanging out.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think people are like, oh, I can't be a mentor.
What if I say something wrong or, silly or
I know
stupid?
what I'm like really at home. I can't be a role model. Can you show up on time?
Yeah.
Can you listen? Can you be there every week?
Yeah.
All right, I'm 0 for 3. I'm 0 for 3.
Oh, man.
I don't believe it.
On time. Lateness is the key to failure.
But that is such an important, and kids, they just want to know that you care about them.
Yeah.
They just want to know that somebody's invested in them and that cares about them and will listen to them and ask them what's going on.
Yeah. And it's not like we ask you to be their teacher or their parent or their, piggy bank and buy them. You don't.
No.
When I was seeing my little at school this year, I would bring crafts with materials I had from home, but sometimes we just played Uno.
Oh, I love that.
And you can just have such a great conversation over Uno.
I'm a world champion Uno player.
You haven't played at our house.
Oh, just wait. Have you played, so do you play the old school Uno? Because there's a new one's like Uno Flip. It's like really, you can flip the cards over. It's a whole nother world.
There are so many different card games that we play.
Can you win on a wild in your house?
Yes.
You can?
Yeah.
That's wrong. That's wrong. You're doing it. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know where you learned.
Listen, Boomer.
Not win on a wild.
We play it a different way, Boomer.
Oh, this is not good.
You can win on a wild in my
Talk
house
a little
too.
bit about your executive director.
Yes.
You've got an
Nancy.
amazing executive director.
Yay.
We do.
Yep.
It's
I haven't
Nancy
seen her in
Polfus,
eons.
and she started last April as our CAO, Chief Administrative Officer, because we knew Patty, our CEO for the past 33 years, was
Amazing job that
going.
she did.
Was going to retire. So Nancy came on and was learning everything, and kind of following the ropes from Patty. And then in January, Patty retired, and Nancy became our CEO, and she's leading us now.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Very proud of her. She's another North City kid. So there's some North City kids out there that have done okay, and Nancy's one of them.
I love
very happy for Nancy. The other thing I just want to say, and Epic has been one of those groups. St. Johns County, I know, has funded all of the nonprofits in different ways. But the nonprofits in St. Johns County have done so much with so little for so long, and have carried the lion's share of the social services in our community.
Right.
And people don't realize that, right? If you just moved here from a larger city and you go, oh, well, the city or the county does this. No, they don't. They help fund it, and they've given us help at times, and we're greatly appreciative for that. Mm-hmm. But there are a lot of agencies that have worked on very tight budgets for a very long time that have done a tremendous amount of good in this community. Epic is one of those that you do all of these things that we talk about, but unless people are interacting with your services, you'll know about it. Right. And that's the thing that is amazing to me. When you do a really good job helping people, no one knows about it.
Yeah.
Well, talk about that community support. I mean, you guys have phenomenal events that go on all year long.
We do. I was thinking this is another surprise. Wait, Epic puts on the Taste. Wait, Epic puts on the Flower and Garden Expo. Wait, Epic puts on the race. Well, yeah. And we are very lucky that we do get county funding, and we have a kind of variety of funding sources. That doesn't pay for everything. And Epic is very proud of not turning people away if they don't have the ability to pay. But even though we're a nonprofit, that just means if we happen to have a surplus at the end, it goes back into the business, right? It doesn't go back to the nonprofit. It doesn't go. I mean, our counselors like to get paid. We have to pay our rent. We have to pay our rent.
They have to pay their rent.
Right. Oh, good. The Gestapo. I know.
Yes.
We have to pay our utilities. So our fundraisers help us cover services that someone's insurance is not going to cover, or they don't have the funds to cover themselves, or a grant is not covering, because we're not going to turn somebody away if they can't pay. Like, oh, too bad. No, come in. We'll figure it out. Mm-hmm. You need this help, and we want to be here for you, but we still have to pay for that counselor's time. So we do get community support through our fundraisers, because those are very popular, the Taste, the Race, and the Flower and Garden Expo. But again, a lot of times people don't connect it with Epic. And we do other types of fundraisers, and like Big Brothers Big Sisters has this online auction going on right now, and we do Tips for Kids' Sake in February. So
if somebody were to know somebody wanted something on the online auction and were to upbid that would actually help you in the long run, would it not?
Won't help you in the long run. I'm going to let you know that right now.
It would not be a mean thing to do.
It will not help you
Epic
in the long run. Messy. You also have the golf tournament that Pete and I dress up for. You're not
so amazing.
I have not been invited.
Oh, get out of Dodge.
Did you call me and say you're invited?
No, you're busy. You don't even watch the afternoon show.
You guys have an afternoon show?
So it's the #1 watch show on this network. Oh, Teresa's been a guest multiple times.
I would watch Teresa.
So mean. Unbelievable. So good. Well, thank you, Teresa, so much for showing up and showing out today.
Thank you for having me. We
beautiful story.
Appreciate you guys for sure.
Oh, before you bust out of here, talk really quick about Emma Benoit. She's my buddy, and I'm so proud of this moment. She's amazing.
So last year, we were really fortunate to be able to bring in Emma Benoit, who is the subject of a documentary called My Ascension. And My Ascension is about the time when Emma was a teenager and she attempted suicide. Mm-hmm. And she survived, but she's now paralyzed. And the documentary is about her journey, because she is now a lover of life, and she wants to help people who are feeling as hopeless as she was. And so she came. It was amazing. I know we did a virtual interview she did with 904 Now, and this was a summer night in I think early August, and we had like over 200 people come. So it was amazing. And she stayed, and there was a panel, and people stayed for an hour.
She's amazing.
Afterwards, just to talk to her. So we have partnered with Inc., and they were able to get some funding, and she's coming back for 5 nights.
Oh, how
cool. So August 25th through the 29th. So the first night, that Sunday, she's going to be at the Link in Nocatee. We're going to do one there. The Monday night, she's going to be at St. Augustine High School. Tuesday night, she's going to be at Pedro Menendez High School. The Wednesday night, she's going to be at Tukoi. And then the Thursday night, she's going to be at Creekside.
Awesome.
So she's going to, we're going to screen the documentary 5 times. We're going to have a panel 5 times. We just want people to know what to do if they are, we're focusing it towards kids, but we want families to come too. But we want adolescents to know that there's hope and what they can do if they're feeling that way. And
She's
so we want to just share,
incredible.
and she is
So well spoken,
amazing.
just
Yep.
a talent beyond measure and an inspiration. Absolutely. I'm so excited. 5. That's amazing. From 1 to 5. Yes.
Yes.
That's great.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
I think that's epic, right? They take it all the way back to why you changed it. It's that's an epic story, and it's epic that you guys are going to have her hear that, because that message gets to a lot more people.
Right.
That's fantastic.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you were talking about community support, with the growth that the county has had, we just want to get it out there, because if you're new to town and you're struggling and you're like, I don't even know what's around the corner, we want them to find us.
Mm-hmm.
We want to be there for them.
It's a wonderful service, and I think people benefit from it every single day, and that's amazing. I love Epic. Love what they do, man.
They do epic things.
Yes, they do.
See?
Yes, they do.
They are epic, and they do epic things. All right, we will see you. We're going to see you back.
Yes, we will definitely see you back.
Yes.
Yeah, well, thank you for that.
And if
Thank
you'll
you.
send us the information ahead of time on the August event with
For sure.
Emma, we will get that word out as much as we possibly can. Because we actually let people know what's going on in the community.
Okay. Yeah, we every show, every platform that I'm on, we make sure that we give a touch.
I meant the 904 now. What did you think I meant?
You have your followers.
What did you
That's
think I
true.
meant?
That's why we're here tonight. Yes.
Just Davey. So sensitive.
I'm very sensitive. I'm a
Were you this
wildflower.
sensitive in 6th grade?
Oh, big time. Oh man, yeah. Absolutely. I fell off the sliding board in elementary school. Okay, and I lived down the street. I left recess, didn't even tell the recess aide. Went home, changed my clothes, came back to school because I had to look fresh. That's the kind of kid I was. I hear you, Amanda, laughing.
If I had come home in the middle of the day, first of all, we all wore the same uniform at the school that I went to, so it wasn't like you could be fresh.
Yeah.
we were all dressed the same.
I wanted fresh.
My mom would have wanted to know why she had to wash an extra pair of clothes, and I would have been in trouble for that. So I just would have stayed the way I was.
They kept an inventory of your dirty clothes. Jeez.
My mom knew everything.
I had a lot of outfit.
My mom knew everything.
A lot of
I'm
outfit changes
telling
over
ya.
here. Yes. A lot of
All right.
changes.
Davey, Teresa.
Yes.
Amanda, thank you for toughing it out today.
I'm here.
You're awesome.
push
We
your
love you.
buttons.
We do. It's the producer, Amanda and Davey.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Thank you guys so much. Teresa, we'll see you again.
you.
Thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you.
All right. This is the Mike Davis Show. Tune in tomorrow morning when there's that show that's on in the morning. And there's all kinds of
That's actually
amazing
the name. He
people
got it
on
right.
it.
What'd you
What?
say?
He got the name right.
At least he did. At least he got the name right.
And if you tune in midday, there's something else that goes on then, but I have no idea what it's called.
It's called the Stoida. I love you guys. Bye, everybody.